Yeah, it's a beautiful evening out there. How are you doing today? Welcome to another exciting edition of your program, You and the Law. You and the Law is a program that highlights activities happening around us. And of course, we look at it in the face of the law. What is that thing that is really bothering you? What is that thing that you need to know much about is considering the law? This is why we're here this evening, to enlighten some of the happening events around you. So welcome to the program. My name is Binga Buke Fadilo. I have my guest in the house with me this evening, but I'll take a break now. When I come back, I will introduce my guest, and of course, we'll talk about what we have for you this evening. Don't go nowhere. You're welcome back. Yes, I have my guest in the house this evening, and of course, together we'll be looking at something very ambiguous, I will say, but we'll streamline ourselves to the particular area of it. That is the tenancy law, and we'll look at the face and the right of the tenant. I have with me Kehinde Taiwo, a legal practitioner. Together, we're going to explore the topic this evening. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's been a while.
Yes, yes. It's been a while.
Yeah, talking about tenancy law. Some people, like some Yoruba would say, "Ani olofa," you know.
Yeah.
But let's look at it this way. Ogun State, Southwest Nigeria. If we have to look at the right of the tenant as regards the law that binds the tenant and the landowner or the landlord
Yeah.
or the landlady.
Yeah.
She understand.
Yeah.
So, do you think tenants equally have rights when it comes to taking?
Thank you very much for your question, and I appreciate you for that, for this topic, because that was why I even decided to, grace your invitation on this topic, because this topic is the actual topic I treated for my thesis.
Okay.
So I have a broad knowledge. I have done a lot of research on it. So that's why I was telling you before we started the program that it's so wide. As much as it looks so simple for people, it's very technical. And I remember when we were in School of Law, the lecturer used to tell us that we have many cases moving from the lower court or high courts down to the Supreme Court just because of landlord and tenancy issue. Now, back to your topic. The tenancy law is very wide. We have different states governing, having their own laws relating to landlord and tenant relationship. It varies from state to state. We have the Ogun State tenancy law. We have Lagos State. I think Lagos tenancy law is still the most recent, and we can understand that because of the special circumstance of Lagos when it comes to tenancy. The landlord sees it as an opportunity, to make a huge economic reward from maybe any house or land that they own, and in awarding such to any tenant, either by rent or lease, they want to put money on it or high value, making it difficult for people to secure accommodation. And you should know that tenancy or accommodation, so to speak, is one of the basic responsibility of the government. We have shied away from that responsibility. The government has really shied away. It should be the duty of the government to provide under Section 14, sub 2 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The duty of the government to provide for the welfare and security of the people. So part of the welfare is accommodation. Because apart from feeding, clothing, the next thing that is a basic amenity is shelter for human beings, which government has a duty to pay. But as it is now, as what we have in country now, or generally in other climes, the government may not be able to meet up with us, and that's why we have private citizens also letting out or building apartments for people to let. And because of that, we have this high increase in accommodation. But in Lagos State, there's an attempt by the government to regulate the tenancy law. by trying to regulate the rent or lease by the landlord in order to favor the tenant. However, let me say that the essence of tenancy law is for the tenant, mostly. It protects the right of the tenant more than the landlord, because we all know that it is believed that a landlord at least has a high economic power than the tenant, because they have that economic capacity. That's why they could buy and build. Yeah. So it is the duty of the government now to now protect the less privileged in the society against the landlord that has that economic need, and that's why we have the tenancy law.
Okay, now with what you just said, the tenancy law is to protect the tenant.
Yes, more. Not that it doesn't protect the landlord.
It protects the tenants more than the landlord.
Yes.
But how often do you think these laws are operational? For instance, if the government should say, okay, as a landlord, you must not take more than 3 months' rent from your tenant.
I hope you are just giving as an example.
As an example.
All right.
Yeah, just in that as an example. Because some states will tell you, okay, you cannot take more than 3 months at a go from your tenant. There should be about 3 months tenancy or whatever.
Okay.
But in some cases, some will take 1 year.
Okay.
Now, if the government says you must not take more than 3 months from your tenant,
okay,
and of course the tenant feels that, okay, this is what the law says about my tenancy, I should be able to pay my 3 months upfront in advance, which is still affordable for me. I can still afford that. You understand? But some tenant will tell you, look, is it the government that built my house for me?
No, the landlord will say.
The landlord will tell you, is it the government that built my house for me?
So they can't dictate.
They can't dictate for me.
I'll collect my rent.
How operational is this law there?
All right, thank you very much. I think ordinarily government should have been able to retain that power if they have justified the trust that the citizen has put on them over the years. Because before now, we have rent control tribunal set up by the past military government of this country. And they were working fine, they were able to regulate. But because the government too have not been truthful, they have not been up and doing it. So it has been difficult for citizens to rely on them. Now let me come to the issue of how the rent is operational. We have different type of rent, which made the tenure of tenancy to be variable. Now I'll give you an instance. By law, even from the law we imported from maybe UK, US, we have weekly tenancy.
Okay.
There are some places in US that you pay per week.
Okay.
Some is even daily.
Okay.
We have monthly, we have half yearly, and maximally is the maximum one is the yearly. However, by law, any rent that is above 3 years is regarded as a lease. That's the law.
Okay.
So now, when the landlord now says, or even sometimes the tenant approach, we have instances whereby it's a contract. It's a relationship stroke a contract whereby there is like an offer, there's an acceptance. So we have maybe assuming we have this studio now and it's up for let, and maybe the landlord wishes that it should be annual. We have some times that tenant will approach the landlord that, I just want to use it for 3 months. Can you allow me? So that shows that it's a contract because you can negotiate. Okay. So the landlord will now look at, does it meet my terms? Can I still go 3 months? Say, okay, yeah, let's do 3 months. So the rent automatically moves from that place being an annual tenancy to a 3 month tenancy based on that rent that has been agreed that will govern that relationship. Now, when they now come to like, okay, let's do it for 3 months, they will now start negotiating the price. So those are the things that regulate the tenancy relationship in Nigeria. And we have seen instances whereby when both parties are now regulated in that means, there are some laws that will now come to place. The most important thing of those issues between them will be the payment of rent. If there is a proof that there is a payment of rent, there is issue of receipt, then we also have what we call maybe agreement, which stipulate the terms and conditions that governs that relationship. So it is when those things are followed that also affect the ejection. Those processes, that's why most cases in court that are based on tenancy has problem, because it's not just when they want to eject that the problem will start. The relationship will be looked at from inception when the tenant wants to come in. The agreement, if there is a term, and by law we have what we call implied terms and express terms. Let me quickly go to that. Okay. Implied terms occurs where there is no express agreement signed between parties. You know, I told you it's a contract. So normally when there is a contract like that, it should be written. So assuming there was no written agreement between the landlord and the tenant, the law implies some terms which is very sacrosanct between them. That's why when they get to court and maybe the judge is asking a party, oh, do you have a tenancy agreement? I say no. The court will input what the law implied into their relationship without even them signing into that court case before the court. But where there is an express terms written and signed by both parties, that express terms or agreement is binding and will govern that case, which is before the court, whether it's the relationship of the rent, the tenancy period, the management of the premises, or the ejection of the tenant.
Yeah, good. In talking about contract this time around, you discover that today most houses, or also most apartments, you get them through agents.
Yeah.
But when you are paying, you pay agency fee.
Yeah.
You pay agreement fee.
Yeah.
Caution.
Yeah.
And the house
agreement fee. Even sometimes they collect legal fees.
Some people collect legal fees.
Say lawyer.
Legal fees.
No, they don't pay. They don't pay any lawyer. It's the landlord that will claim that.
Now, in that case, at the end of the day, you will not get to sign any contractual agreement. No written agreement.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, when they want to eject you,
that's a law.
They will now come with
just only the one that affects the tenancy. Those other ones are you won't be able to get a refund on that.
You get a refund for your agreement fee.
Yeah.
You get a refund for your caution fee.
No, you have to. Caution fee is if there is a damage. The caution fee will be used for that damage.
Now the caution fee.
Yes.
So now tell me,
if there is no proof of any damage, you have the right to recover your caution fee.
No. How can the tenant prove it that there is no damage there?
Yeah, is that the tenant
the house belongs to the landlord.
Let me put you short there.
They can easily tell you this is not how I give it
I gave it out to you.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you, on the issue of caution fee, in law, the right to prove or the burden of proof shifts on parties. Most times we have the claimant, we have the defendant, we have the plaintiff, we have the defendant. So the burden of proof is not static. It shifts. Now, when we talk of recovery of premises, most of the time, like I told you earlier in this program, that the tenancy law protects the tenant more. So when you are in court on a tenancy matter, most burden is on the landlord. You want to eject a tenant, the burden is for you to show, this is the rent I collected from this tenant and it's for so period, and maybe for one reason or the other, maybe he committed a breach of one of the terms of contract, and on that ground, I'm ejecting the tenant. And remember I told you that there are implied terms. One of the implied terms by law is that a tenant has a duty to pay rent as and when due. So if the tenant too breaches that term, which is implied, which doesn't need to be written down, the landlord too can eject the tenant. Now, when it comes to issue of caution, the landlord has to prove this is the situation of the house before I put this tenant in possession. And as at the time he is leaving, maybe by video or by pictorial evidence, now, so this is now the condition of the house. So thing has been damaged, and it costs this. This has been damaged, and it costs. Cost is not a Father Christmas. You have to prove. So if you cannot prove, the tenant has a right to show it to the court that this is the amount I transferred to the landlord that I paid. This is the receipt that I paid for caution, which I have the right to recover since I did not damage any part of the premises. And the court will go for it if the landlord cannot prove his own. the body will, the law will protect the tenant in that regard.
Okay, the program is saying You and the Law on OGTV. We'll take a break now. When we'll come back, we'll continue the program. Don't go nowhere. Okay, the program is still You and the Law on OGTV, and of course I still have my legal luminary in the house. So, now, I'm a yearly tenant. My rent expires 31st December of every year. Maybe something.
So that means your rent starts from January 1st to
31st of December.
Yeah, of the year.
And of course, maybe by circumstances, I couldn't meet up to pay by 1st of that January. And the next thing my landlord comes with is ejection.
How do you mean by ejection?
No,
A quick notice?
A quick notice.
All right.
Okay. Now, I think as a result of the fact that I'm a yearly tenant, am I not entitled to some month?
All right.
Of which I will pay.
Okay.
Are you getting? I'm not saying that I want to live there for free.
Okay.
Or what does law say about that?
All right. I like the last part. What does the law say about that? Yeah. When you are a yearly tenant, it is expected that before you are ejected, the landlord gives you 6 months notice to quit.
That is if that quit notice coming from the landlord.
Yes, it's coming from. So like you said now rightly, both parties have the right to terminate. Okay. If the landlord wants to terminate or eject the tenant, he has to give 6 months notice. Then if the tenant wants to terminate, normally he's supposed to also give the landlord notice. But that's where I said the law protects the tenant more than the landlord. The tenant does not need to give notice to the landlord. He can just pack out.
I can pack out in time.
Yes. Even some tenants pack out maybe 6 months to when the expiration comes, and they will still demand for the balance of the rent. So now, if you now refuse to pay, there is an. I told you that I told us on this program that there is an implied terms. It is implied when you don't pay before the expiration of your rent that you do not need to continue as a tenant. So what normally people do is, in the agreement there is a provision that maybe the landlord will request that if you intend to continue as a tenant, you must give me a written notice 3 months to the end of your tenancy that you intend to retain that premises. So if you don't meet up with that clause, that means the landlord already agreed that you are no more retaining, you'll be looking for another tenant even before you leave the house. But if there is no such term in your agreement, maybe the landlord leaves it open that, okay, let's wait till the end of the month, end of the year, you must pay your rent before that 31st. If you refuse to pay, and the landlord waits maybe the following month after the rent is due and you don't pay, the law implies that you do not intend to continue being in that premises. So you are not regarded as a tenant again under the law, but an occupier. Okay. So with that, the landlord is only entitled to give you a 7 days notice to recover that premises. And after giving that 7 days, he has the right to go to court to reject that occupier now, not the tenant. That's why I said this landlord tenancy issue is very technical.
Oh my God!
You are no more a tenant. After the expiration of the rent, you are now an occupier.
I would have loved us to continue, but time is not on our side.
Anytime you call on us,
we have a part 2 of this particular.
No problem. If it's next week you want, I'm available.
Okay, no problem. So look out for it next week. We have part 2 of or the continuation of this particular topic. The program is still You and the Law on OGTV. Yes, thank you, guests, for coming on this program today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Barrister Kehinde Taiwo. I really appreciate you. And of course, good viewers out there, I appreciate you tuning to OGTV. Hopefully, 5 o'clock next week, Wednesday, we'll be back. My name is still Benga Goke Fadiron. Enjoy the rest of the evening.